Hey there, YouTubers. This is Kazuto, here to bring you my latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. This is the deck profile for one of my personal favorite synchro decks, Superheavy Samurai. So let's start with the extra deck. First off, we play one copy of the Superheavy Samurai Steam Train King. Steam Train King is one of your biggest heavy hitters, with 4,800 defense points, on top of which he has the ability to banish all spell and trap cards from both players' graveyards and burn your opponent for 200 apiece. Also, you can discard up to 2 cards from your hand to destroy up to 2 cards on your opponent's field. Pretty nice. Really, really helpful. That's why you always run one of it. Furthermore, a card that I don't have yet, but I'm planning on getting, is the Superheavy Samurai Brave Masurao. This is the new level 12 synchro monster with 2,100 attack and 4,000 defense points. And I don't know the full effect off the top of my head. All I know is that it does have something to do with draw power, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So once I get the card, we'll do a redo of this entire video where I explain Brave Masurao. Or I'll just make a separate video on Brave Masurao. One of the two. So, please look forward to that. Yeah. Superheavy Samurai Susanoo. Warlord Susanoo is one of your bigger hitters as well. You mainly want to use him to steal whatever spell and trap cards you can use from your opponent's graveyard and use them for yourself. And also his 3,800 defense points, pretty hard to get over him. You also run the one Superheavy Samurai Beast QB. Beast QB is really good because of the fact that it gets a 900 defense bonus for every single one of your opponent's monsters that is special summoned from anywhere. So, yeah, pretty good. And you also run one copy of Superheavy Samurai Commander Shanowo. Really fun card. And yeah. Glad I actually got 2 of them, but I still want to get a third one for the collection, because I like to keep playsets of all of my core. We also run one copy of Superheavy Samurai Ninja Sarutobi. And yeah. We also run one Superheavy Samurai Stealth Ninja. So, pretty good for this deck. 2 copies of Ogre Shuten Doji. Ogre Shuten Doji is really good because of the fact that it is basically just a Harpy's Feather Duster in monster form. Pretty easy to summon it too. You also got 2 copies of Superheavy Samurai Swordmaster Musashi, which is the last of our Superheavy Samurais in the extra deck. And this is basically a monster reborn. Really good. And then for our last 4 synchros, we run one copy of the Psychic End Punisher. Basically one of your best offensive cards, especially if you have less life points than your opponent. You have Baron de Fleur for negation. You have Naturia Beast to stop spell cards. And Naturia Barkion if you're going up against decks like Trap Tricks. That is the extra deck for Superheavy Samurais. The reason we don't run Superheavy Samurai Scarecrow is because Superheavy Samurai Scarecrow got banned because of the new support. So, now we'll move on to the main deck. You run 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Prodigy Waka Ushi. Waka Ushi is one of your best tuner monsters. I love this card so much, especially since you can actually search out a pendulum monster and put it into the pendulum scale if it's by itself and you meet the requirements, which is pretty easy to do. And it summons itself for free. So, pretty good. So yeah, 3 copies of Prodigy Waka Ushi. You also want 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Trumpeter. Trumpeter is a free summon on top of it being a tuner monster, so really, really exceptional. 3 copies of Superheavy Samurai Battle Ball. Battle Ball is exceptionally good if you're going second and your opponent has like something on board that's really big and you want to take it from them and just go for a synchro. Really, really fun. You also got the Superheavy Samurai Motorbike at 3, which is your last tuner monster. This card is exceptionally good because you can discard it from hand and basically search out any Superheavy Samurai you want. So, obviously you're going to run it. Now, I've seen a person online use 2 copies of this card, but I disagree. This should always be a mandatory 3 of. Superheavy Samurai Monk Big Ben Key. Big Ben Key's Monk form is actually a broken card, and it is a mandatory 3 of. Especially since it has 2 abilities. One in the Pendulum Scale, and one that is really good for the Monster Zone. The Pendulum Scale is the best ability because if it's in the Pendulum Scale and you control a Superheavy Samurai monster, you can search out any other Superheavy Samurai Soul monster from your deck and add it to your hand. So if you need like Soul Booster Gaia or Soul Piercer or Soul Peacemaker, just any combo extender that's a soul card, you can use this card to search it once per turn. And its other effect allows it to summon itself for free by discarding Big Ben Key, the original. So you summon this card from hand by just sending a Superheavy Samurai Big Ben Key from deck or hand to grave. And to go with that strategy, we run 1 of the original Big Ben Key, just so we have a target to special summon Monk Big Ben Key if we want to summon it. Or if we want to use it for Pendulum Scale, we can just use it for Pendulum Scale. So yeah, you never summon regular Big Ben Key anymore because of the new Monk Big Ben Key. But it's only in there just for summoning Monk. Basically, that's the whole point of regular Big Ben Key. You run 3 Superheavy Samurai Wagon because of its broken ability to search any Superheavy Samurai card and add it to your hand. Just really good. 2 copies of Magnet, obvious. Magnet is one of your best defensive cards, so you have to run it. 2 copies of Superheavy Samurai Scales. Scales can serve as a monster reborn and an extender when it's summoned, and so it helps you to go into further synchro plays. Really good. 1 Superheavy Samurai Flutist. You really only need the 1 because you can just bring it back with Musashi or Scales. So you really don't need more than 1 of this thing. Yeah. And on top of that, it's protection while in the grave. Now we move on to our Soul Engine, which is the Superheavy Samurai Soul monsters. 3 Soul Peacemaker, which makes sense. This thing is extremely broken. It can tribute itself while equipped to another Superheavy Samurai monster, and the monster it's equipped with will also be tributed to use its second effect, which allows you to special summon any Superheavy Samurai monster you want directly from your deck. So if you need like a tuner monster or any other Superheavy Samurai, you can basically use Soul Peacemaker to get it out. Then you run 3 Soul Piercer because of Soul Piercer being a really good option. Soul Piercer, it basically, if it's equipped to a Superheavy Samurai monster, that monster, when it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing battle damage. Really good. And then our last 3 of, which I am one of the people who likes this card at 3 just because of the way it works. Superheavy Samurai Soul Buster Gauntlet. Soul Buster Gauntlet is really good. It's basically the Honest of this deck / limiter removal combined. You discard it from your hand and your Superheavy Samurai monster that is battling has its defenses doubled until the end of the turn. This can be done during either player's turn and whether you are attacking or they are attacking. So, really good. And for our one-ofs, for the Soul cards, we run 1 Soul Booster, Soul Gaia Booster. You just need the 1 copy of it. And then you run 1 Soul Horns, which can make it so you get double attacks in a turn. And then for our non-Super Heavy Samurai main deck core, we run 3 copies of Ash Blossom, basic hand trap that you need in every deck. Because Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring just stops your opponent from searching. 2 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being. I was running this at 3 for a while, but I'm like, too bricky. So I decided to bump it down to 2 and see how that works. Nibiru is basically a counter to decks that like to swarm the board, so even in a mirror match, you're pretty much safe. And then you run 1 Pancratops for the free summon. Leads into an instant synchro, whichever way you want. Really good. So, yeah. And that is the Super Heavy Samurai deck that I've built. If you liked the video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell for notifications of when I post, and please enjoy your day. See you later.